What's going on, everybody? Today our topic, we're going to be talking about developing agility in youth. Now, when we talk about agility, it's definitely one of the most overlooked topics in all sports, especially our dear and beloved basketball. Agility is one of the things that separates great athletes from good athletes, and whoever has the best agility at a young age is pretty much going to win. Just before we go into talking about athletic stance, which is the base of all agility, we want to talk about sensitive periods. So when we look at a long-term athletic development approach, we can see that agility, the period for agility, the sensitive period for agility, ranges from anywhere between 8 to 10 and 12 to 14 years old, depending on if you're a boy or a girl, if you develop late, develop early. So during that period, we like to do a lot of different games and a lot of different exercises to promote agility within our athletes. So let's go ahead and talk about how we start. So the basis of all agility, we believe, is called the athletic stance. And my mentor and good friend Lee Taft is the one that I took this philosophy out of. I think it's a great way. I want to teach everybody how we go ahead and teach the athletic stance. So when we do an athletic stance, basically we want to have a wider base, shoulder width, and maybe even a little bit wider. Our toes are going to be pointed forwards. Our ankles are going to be dorsiflexed, so basically our knees are going to go forward to load the ankles. My hips are then going to go back. I'm upright right now, but then I'm going to lean forward slightly, so I'm loaded from bottom to top. And if I look at my feet, knees, and hips, it's pretty much of a pyramid that goes ankles, knees, and then hips, okay? So that's the stance that we want to start in. And the reason we want to start that stance is it loads the inside edge of our foot, and it allows us to move in any direction that we want, which is perfect when it comes to an athletic stance. So we really teach the kids pretty much every single day what it should look like and how to move out of it. Once we feel like they've grasped it and have a good idea of what it looks like, then we ask ourselves, depending on what age, what kind of movements are these youth going to be seeing in games? Or what kind of general movement do they need in general to be a robust athlete? So we think in terms of movement patterns between from broad to narrow. So the younger they are, they're going to have a broad toolbox. They're going to have a lot of different things, which is sports specific, non-sport specific, but they're going to learn it all. So these movements include running, jumping, skipping, shuffling, hopping, which is on one leg and landing on the same leg, jumping, which is basically jumping off 2 feet and landing on one, or vice versa. So I could be on one and then land on two, okay? Twisting, rolling, crawling. A couple of the ones that we add in a lot, even though they're not sport specific per se, is flips, romping, kicking, cartwheels. These are a great way to build an amazing base for kids to do a bunch of different sports later on in life. Then the next thing we want to ask ourselves is, how do we make it fun? Because we can tell kids to do 3 sets of 10 going this way, 10 going that way, but they're just going to be bored to death. So instead of making it so conscious learning, how do we make it at a level where they're just going to do what we want them to do and do it at a high intensity and really maybe add a component of competition if that's what the kids are into at that age. So we throw in a lot of different games. You're going to see the different games that we're going to add into it. But again, keeping in mind that these are the movements that we want to see within those games to make it fun. Then the last component we add into it is, how do we make it reactionary? How do we put the reactive component into it? Because on the field, on the court, wherever they are, they're really not going to be thinking, oh, I need to shuffle this way and then hip turn this way and then lateral run this way. That's not how it works, and we know that. How do we add a component of reaction? What kind of stimulus are we giving? Are we giving them a reaction of, say I drop a tennis ball and they have to go get that tennis ball? Or am I adding a further stimulus, a higher stimulus of, I'm going to put another opponent in front of them and they need to mirror that opponent? So guys, what a blast. I'm really happy that you guys were able to see us in action and how we train agility. Again, notice the laughter on everybody's face. Everybody was at a different level of their long-term athletic development. Some were trained to win or like play for the national team. Others were general population. But the main thing for me is that they're having fun. It gives me a good sense of how they're moving as well, any kind of asymmetries or deficiencies that they may have, depending on if I'm looking at a joint by joint approach. But the main thing is that they're moving at an unconscious level. I'm able to see how they move, and the most important thing is that they're having fun. So guys, any comments, any questions that you have, please, we'd love to hear from you, and make sure to stay active. We will see you next time.